Hello, everybody. Let's see. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to, let's see. Just want to see if I'm live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Wednesday sesh. um, we're back. I just want to make sure that you can hear me. There we go. Yes, good. We we are live. Let me just make sure I can see everybody. Awesome. All right. Whoops. Let me turn myself down. Okay, awesome. So, hey, if you're joining me here today to talk all things free lead magnets, definitely give me a thumbs up or a heart, something to let me know that you're here so that I can start interacting with you and welcome you in as you arrive, and it'll just make it a lot more fun. So, anyway, today we're going to be talking all about lead magnets. So, if you've been following along these last several weeks, I have talked about growing your email list and kind of making the bridge from your real world networking to using online marketing strategies. And what I have to tell you is that this is one of those areas that as we start our staging businesses, marketing is so new to us, but even the most experienced people I have found as I have invested in myself in all kinds of coaching and courses and things like that, that it's really not very well known by people who work in the online space how to actually take a real world business like a staging business that is geography based, so zip code based, it's a service based business, and how to actually use online marketing strategies to grow that business. And one of the cool things is that several years ago, I finally figured out the process and what that actually looks like. And I want to share some of that with you today. So again, I've mentioned lead magnets before because they're really an integral part of the system that I have created that has worked for my business. And I want to share with you today how you can begin to incorporate that into your own business because it has been extraordinarily valuable for me to give away something for free. And so I wanted to share with you my thought process, what that looked like in my business, and maybe some ideas to spark some creativity in you to get this started. So the first thing is that I want to just get clear about is that when you're creating a free lead magnet, there are several things that you can do and choose to do, but we want to think about one that's actually going to drive profit. So we want it to be valuable, but we want it to end up leading our clients along a buying process and path. So when I talk about these lead magnets today, I want you to really keep that in mind. And the cool thing is that if you already have a staging business or you already have a course or a product that you are looking to get out into the world, you can actually implement a lot of these strategies right away. So this will be very actionable for you today coming out of this. And I'm also going to share a free resource with you in the post, description that will help you as well. So we're going to dive into kind of three main questions to help you get your free lead magnet kind of off the ground and get started. And I want to also clarify that I will probably use some things interchangeably as I'm talking, because you'll see out in the online world that free lead magnets are also referred to as free offers. They're referred to as irresistible free offers or IFOs. They're called freebies. So I'm going to probably, be fluid about the terminology I use because you will see those things out there. So just so that you don't get confused when I'm mentioning one thing versus another. So anyway, but I also want you to keep this in mind, that when you create a free lead magnet and somebody is going to give you their email address in exchange for that, that most of those people, in fact, like probably close to 99% of those people are probably not going to be ready to buy from you right then and there. What they are actually doing when they download a free guide or give you their email for a freebie is that they are looking to solve an immediate problem, like try to get a quick, easy solution to a problem that they have right then and there. So when you are going into this is what you want to kind of keep in mind, is that your process only begins at the exchange of the email address for the free lead magnet. There's more that comes beyond it. So it's a little bit of a mindset shift. So I just wanted you to know that. And you really got to start with your end goal in mind. So this is where a lot of people trip up. So you want to start by understanding what exactly it is you want the outcome to be, because we are going to use the lead magnet to take your client along a path toward actually giving you money in exchange for your service. So they're going to give you their email address in exchange for the free item, but the goal is to ultimately have them give you money in exchange for a product, a service, or a course. So the first thing that you want to identify is, what that is. What is that end goal? And you want to make sure that your lead magnet is starting the conversation of that path, right? So that is the very, very start. So it's got to really meet your client where they are right now. Now, there are some things like, trying to think of an example of a lead magnet that you could create that might be too advanced, right? Too higher level. So actually the Profitable Staging Business Starter Kit is an example of, a lead magnet that I use, where I'm going to, I may use that to lead into a course that I sell, but inside the course I teach deeper concepts, but my clients want to be met right now with some of the more basic things to think about getting their business profitable. So just something to think about there. So let's dive into what those 3 questions can look like, so that you can really start to marinate on them, think about them, and begin to create kind of the framework for your free lead magnet. So the first is, you want to decide, what do you ultimately want to sell, right? So is it, your staging service, and what specific service is it, right? So if we're offering staging consultations or we're offering vacant staging, those are 2 very different things. And the freebie, in order to take our client down that path, will be very, very different. So you want to think about what exactly you want that end point to be. So what is the ultimate service that you are going to sell them into? Also, the next question that you are going to ask yourself, and this is really, 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 really important, because this is really the starting point of your lead magnet, which is, what does your ideal client need to understand, believe, become aware of in order for them to be ready to want and or need your product, program, or service? And I'm going to dive into that a little bit more when I share some real world examples from my business of how you can think about that. But this is really, really important, because as we know in staging, there's still a lot of education that needs to be done. So our lead magnet can actually be a great jumping off point to begin to educate our market, make them aware, maybe smash myths that people think about the staging process, right? So there's so much in our creative minds that we can come up with, but we've got to understand where our ideal client might get hung up on buying our service and begin to break those myths. So I'll give you an example actually from someone else's business. Amy Porterfield, she runs a course called the Digital Course Academy, and her freebies that she gives out, or has people opt in for, leading into that course, has everything to do with how to name a course, because she knows people get hung up on naming a course. What kind of course should they teach? Because a lot of people don't know that. Should they teach a really big course? Should they teach a mini course? She goes into how to name your course. What is the framework for naming your course again? So there's all of this stuff that she's doing to begin to break down some of the myths that people have. She gives them a quick framework for outlining their course so that they can quickly get an outline going for a course, because that's another thing that people get stuck on. So what she's done is she's really met her client where they are and kind of giving them quick wins in order to feel like, they can actually create a course. Like it's a much more doable thing than they thought before receiving her freebie. So that's really huge. And this is where, again, your lead magnet starts that conversation. And then the last thing you want to think about, so you want to think about, first of all, what's the end goal? What's the product or service that you want to be selling? You want to think about where your ideal client is and what they need to be aware of, what they need to believe, maybe what, myths or misinformation you need to help them overcome. And then you also need to figure out what would complement your service, right? So again, we talked about if you wanted to sell a staging consultation versus a vacant staging, well, you would want to align your free lead magnet to align with that ultimate end goal of selling that service. So you wouldn't be giving one collective freebie for that, unless you did what I did in my business, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So let's talk a little bit about the strategies then. So you want your lead magnet to give people quick wins. So once you've identified, your answers to those questions, you want to think about how you can give somebody a very quick win with something. And I'm going to give you some examples of that. You want them to be like, oh, dang, this person knows what they're talking about. Holy smokes. Wow, that was so easy. So that they begin to trust you and trust your process and trust your thoughts and your methodology, right? And they're able to do that very quickly. You want to flood someone with some ideas, right? So, you see things like out there, 20 ways to stage your house on a budget or something like that. And it's like lots of just ideas and thoughts and things like that that kind of get people moving. And when people have a rush of ideas come to them, they feel like the value that you've given them is so huge in that. So we want to be giving great value, obviously, and then, leading it down a profitable framework. You can share your framework, you can share your philosophy, and I'll again share that from my own business and what that looks like. But if you share like a framework or your philosophy, you're actually demonstrating to your client a little bit more about who you are, what you stand for, and how you can work with them. So that's another just nice, simple way to package something in a lead magnet. So let me share with you some real world examples of what this looks like and kind of begin to spark some ideas. So in my business, what this looks like is currently my lead magnet is my ebook, Sell Your House in 72 Hours. And Sell Your House in 72 Hours, the lead magnet was not the original plan. It was not originally planned to be a lead magnet. And I will actually share with you why. I worked with a business coach who wasn't exactly sure how to help me as an in-person business know what to do. Like, she wanted us to create a book. And she wanted us to create a book in 90 days. But then she didn't really give us the ideas for like what to do with that book after the fact. So I knew when I created my book that what I did want was I wanted something that I could give to a realtor or give them the link so they could purchase their own, something that would help explain the staging process, that they could put in a listing packet, right? So I identified, at least with the hard copy book, what the ideal client was. It was the realtors. And I identified what I wanted to sell to, which was I wanted to sell styling evaluations. And one of the hurdles that I had heard about was that realtors have a hard time, or were having a hard time, bringing up staging to their sellers in a way that it seemed helpful and not judgmental. So that was part of the reason why I created the book in the first place, was to explain my philosophy and my framework and share beautiful images of the work that we had done, the success stories. It was almost like an expanded brochure in a lot of ways. But then what I realized after a couple of years of, marketing the hard copy book was that I could actually use that, turn it into an ebook and use that as a lead magnet. And so the lead magnet is, again, another way to lead my clients down the path toward booking those styling evaluations. But that book, actually, the way that it's written, because I chose to do it as a framework, right? I shared my framework. It actually helps me sell vacant staging as well as my online courses. So that is actually a pretty all-encompassing free lead magnet. It's not something that you have to do. You don't have to do something so robust as a large expanded ebook like I did. I just happen to have the physical asset. But by having that asset turned into the e-version, what I've been able to do now is I've been able to use that during presentations, when I meet with new realtors, as a way to begin to bring them over to my email list and then lead them along the sales path. So I hope that you're hearing, and I hope that you're kind of doing a little, oh, okay, there's the follow-up path, right? That like I said, the free lead magnet is the starting point. So we need to think about what the path is that we continue to bring them along after the fact. So the ebook was not my first lead magnet, but it has been the one that has been most effective because it is in most alignment, because I finally figured out those 3 questions that I needed to answer those in order to create an effective lead magnet. But my business has always had one. So I'm going to make the suggestion that you have, when you get this lead magnet, the one thing you want to do is immediately, if you have somebody who can do this for you, if you can do it yourself, I'm amazed if you can do it yourself. I'm like, hats off to you. I don't have the tech level, but you want it on your homepage of your website. And you want it to be above, what they call above the fold. You don't want people to have to scroll down for it. What I see, the big mistake a lot of people doing is that you have to scroll all the way to the bottom, and it usually says something like, sign up for my newsletter here. That is not sexy or interesting enough. Not in this day and age. Everybody knows what that's all about. So you want to have it right on your homepage. And if you go to my homepage, rethinkHomeInteriors.com, you will see that I have the Sell Your House in 72 Hours ebook on the homepage right there. But that's not the only place that you can use your lead magnet, right? You can also use it on social media. So one of the things you can do is put it in a post, right? So we have routinely a post that goes out that talks about, and you can click the link to get Sell Your House in 72 Hours on Facebook. We share it on Instagram stories. We share it in Instagram posts. We share it in blog posts. So once you've created that free thing that people are willing to give you their email address for, then there are all kinds of ways you can begin to use that to bring them over into your online community. But again, the first time I ever used a free lead magnet in a presentation was once I had the ebook. I never thought to use it in a presentation, and that is right there, like kind of ninja. So write that down, that once you've created your free lead magnet, a lot of times people will say, like, I am giving a presentation, what should I do as a giveaway? I think you should give away something that they need to give you their email address for. Don't give them away, don't give away a free consultation. To be honest, every time I did that in the beginning of my business, because that's what people told me to do, nobody ever booked it because I hadn't stayed in touch with them. That was one thing, but they also weren't ready to buy, right? So here they landed this, and it was luck of the draw, and they probably were just showing up for the bagels. So that's why when you create a lead magnet, you want to start using that in your presentations as a way to bring people onto your email list. So that's like an example from my business. But I was also thinking about, what if you had, like, if you wanted to use a lead magnet for, say, your vacant services, and a real estate investor is your ideal client. So where do you start? You start with your ultimate goal is you want to sell vacant staging. Your ideal client is an investor who is active and busy and, all of that good stuff. So what would a lead magnet look like? Well, you need to think about, what are the problems that they need to be aware of, what myths need to be broken, what biases they may have to using staging, and start there. So you could put together like a how to stage your flip starter guide, and that could include some things in there like the statistics on houses that sit empty versus those that are staged. What's the difference there? Because for them, money is time, right? And because they're investors, they will understand the money for time. I think my computer just went off. That's so weird. I'm thinking you can still see me, but let's Oh, there we go. Sorry. Anyway, so you so you could do that. You could put in a staging budget calculator. You could, some of the issues they come up with if you wanted to share, your design expertise is like where to find things that are reasonably priced but are on trend. So maybe you want to share like the top 10 neutral paint colors that are on trend for right now, so that they begin to join your list because they want that one solution, but then you can take them down the path to the next steps, right? So that's what you want to be thinking about when you're creating a lead magnet. So what do you need in place then? And how do you make these things? Because it can sound overwhelming. So I've talked about Canva in the past. It's a wonderful low cost app that you can use on your computer to create gorgeous templates. And there's all kinds of beautiful templates that you can just customize in Canva. But you can also start off with a Google document. You could do a Google a Word document. I've had several lead magnets over the years that are just documents, right? So, but the key is you want it to be valuable, and you want it to give them a quick win, and you want to meet them where they are, and then take them down that path to the next sale. So you need to start by creating that lead magnet. The second thing is that you need what's called a landing page. And this is where, and you've probably all been to this before, right? The landing page which says, give me your name and email address and I will send it to your inbox. So you need a landing page. Now, landing pages there's all kinds of places you can use. I love Lead Pages. Lead Pages is really friendly to use, and it integrates very easily with lots of other things. It plays very nicely with a lot of other CRMs and things like that. So you need something like that. If you use Aweber, for example, because I know Aweber the best for email marketing, Aweber also has landing pages that you can send somebody to. And so what happens is you send them to that landing page link to give them their email address, and then you set it is automatically set up to send your email from your CRM, which is the third thing you need. So you need a landing page, and you need a CRM like Aweber or MailChimp. And this is where, once somebody ends up on your email list, you begin to take them down the path. And the fourth thing is you need a nurture sequence. You need an email series after the fact to continue the conversation. So in my business, what that looks like is, if we have somebody at a presentation who wants to get the free ebook, and they write down, this is actually real world, they'll write their email down on a sign-in sheet, their name and email address. We actually enter those people manually into Aweber, and there are already a series of emails loaded in that say, it was so wonderful meeting you this week at the presentation in your office. Here's the free thing that you requested, and then that's it. And then there's another email that goes out a day later that says, I really wish that I could have gotten to know you better, but I'd love to follow you on social media. Can you share with me your social media, handles? Here are mine. And then we start to create a relationship there. Then I send something out a couple of days later that says, I just wanted to share with you. I know people are always looking for free resources and guides and things. Here are a few other things that I have for you. So I have like tons of things that I've created over the years in Canva that I begin to pepper out to them. Then they start receiving blog posts that start talking about what we do. And in the middle there, I request a virtual coffee date with them that says, I'd love to learn more about your business. Here's a link to a virtual coffee date. So it's beginning to take them down that path. So it doesn't have to be overly complicated, and your lead magnet doesn't have to be super fancy, but you just need to know that you've got to get it in place. So let's just start creating, right? Go start answering those 3 questions. What are you ultimately going to sell? What does your client need to know, understand, or believe in order to buy that thing that you are selling? And what is going to give them a quick win to get them started? And what kind of thing can you give for free that is in alignment with that, right? So start there, and then you can start creating. And again, don't overcomplicate it. Go to Canva, create a Google document, keep it simple, and then from there you can start getting people's email addresses. So I share in the Profitable Staging Starter Kit, which is in the captions above or the post. I have a free lead magnet guide that kind of walks you through this even more, shows you some real world examples, images and photos and things like that. So if you want that, grab your copy of the Profitable Staging Starter Kit at the link above. And that is a wrap for this week. I'd love to see if we have any questions coming through. I don't know if we do. Oh yeah, like so funny how you don't see anything. I don't see any questions coming through, but hopefully this is really clear. It's a very simple process, but you just need to give it some thought so that you make sure that that lead magnet turns into something that will actually bring in revenue to your business. Because the last thing you want is to create something that is beautiful and valuable, but doesn't take people on that path. So, okay, great. Awesome. Oh, look at everybody who's popped in. Hi, everybody. It's great to see you. Awesome. Okay, so that's it for this week. I will be in next week. Again, I'll be announcing that topic next week, and we will go from there. But let's start creating those lead magnets and start bringing people into your online world, okay? Have a great one, everybody. Talk with you soon.